This is what a full day of eating looks like on the carnivore diet. We're having our first meal, so we're breaking the fast at 12 o'clock midday. This gives us a good intermittent fasting window from the previous meal the night before. And meal one is going to be 250 grams of ground beef, that's 20% fat, 2 rashers of bacon, 40 grams of beef liver, 3 eggs, and we're cooking this meal in tallow. And then we're going to add some butter back into the meal at the end just to increase the fat content. So it's good on carnivore to have high fat meals. This is going to help with satiety and energy levels. The total calorie for this meal is 1,250, and I eat this meal most days. This is my first meal and I include the liver in there because liver is extremely nutrient dense. So I know if I eat this each day, I'm getting a lot of good nutrition, and we've only got a small amount of liver there because I eat liver most days, and you want to eat liver in the proportion that it will be found on the animal. So if you think of a cow, the amount of muscle meats compared to the amount of liver, a liver by weight is about 3% of the cow, so you want to make sure you're eating a small amount compared to the muscle meats and fat. So I'm basing this day of eating on a goal weight of 170 pounds, which is actually what I weigh. So to work out how many calories you should be eating if you're trying to get down to an ideal weight, is take your goal weight in pounds, multiply it by 12, and that gives you the calories you're aiming for. So the calories we're aiming for today are 2,040 calories. You can also work out a rough estimate of how much protein you want. You take your goal weight again in pounds, and that gives you the amount of grams of protein you need. So if your goal weight is 170 pounds, a good idea is to try and aim for 170 grams of protein per day. So what these two meals, what this full day of eating actually ended up being was 2,110 calories. 145 grams of fat, 145 grams of protein, and about 3 grams of carbs. So that works out about a 1-to-1 ratio, fat to protein. We didn't quite get the 170 grams of protein, but usually on a carnivore diet, you're going to end up with higher fat, and that's fine. But as long as you're getting a decent amount of protein, that's good. And the carbs are minimal, so we're going to stay in ketosis. I'm very fortunate. I've got high quality beef, eggs, butter. The only thing that's a lower quality in this meal is the bacon. But don't be put off by food quality. Eat the highest quality you can afford, but a carnivore diet is still going to be better than a conventional Western diet or the standard American diet. So meal one at 12 o'clock midday has 1,250 calories, and if you need to up the fat in your diet, you can just add more butter. Meal 2 is at 3 p.m. and this is a very simple meal. We've got 250 grams of ground beef, again 20% fat. We're just having this as 2 burgers and 3 hard-boiled eggs. This is a very simple meal. Usually I would cook and eat everything at home, but I knew I was going to have to be out, so I've made a meal that I can prep and take with me. So this is a very simple one, and the total calories for meal 2 are 860 calories. And don't be scared to salt to taste. There are these myths and fallacies that are floating around in the dieting space that fat's bad for you and that salt's bad, and it's just totally not true. So don't be worried about adding salt. It's a beneficial nutrient and it's good for electrolytes, so it helps hydration, it helps your body regulate water, so it's very beneficial. As long as you're using a high quality sea salt and not table salt, you're going to get benefits from that. And if you consume too much sodium but you're well hydrated, your body will just pass it out in the urine, so it's nothing to worry about. Total calories for the day, 2,110 calories. So we're slightly over what our goal was when we calculated it with the goal weight of 170 pounds. On the carnivore diet long term, you don't need to count calories because you will naturally tap into your hunger and satiety responses. These responses are hijacked by carbohydrates because they're high in sugar, and sugar is an addictive substance, so you can't actually tell if you're hungry or not when you're consuming a lot of carbohydrates. When you remove these from your diet, you start to recognise that you're not hungry, and because these meals are high in fat and protein, you're not going to experience much hunger at all. You can use that as a rough estimate to start with, because you'll be transitioning from a high carb diet where you would naturally overeat. But after about 3 weeks, you'll get used to the satiety that comes with a carnivore diet, and you won't feel the need to restrict what you're eating. In the beginning, I would make an estimate of what you should be eating in terms of calories and track it so you know what that amount of calories looks like on a carnivore diet. But after that, you'll just intuitively be able to gauge when you should eat and how much based on your hunger, because there'll be reliable signals. than not being hijacked by carbohydrates. When you transition from a high carb diet, you're going to experience carb withdrawals because it's a sugar, it's an addictive substance. And cravings can often be a sign of a mineral deficiency, so the electrolytes in the form of salt are going to be beneficial. So salt to taste, you might want to add more salt in the beginning. And you might even want to front load food. Because the standard Western diet is highly processed and quite lacking in nutrition, you might want to push the amount of food you're eating to start with on the carnivore diet and then taper it down over time. And you can use your hunger for this, or you can just exceed your calories for the first 3 weeks and you're just getting a lot of nutrition into the body, and then after that it will equal out. We're eating meal 2 at 3 p.m, 860 total calories,